Hello! I thought today I might have a bit of fun with this book that I found in Typo. It's one of those ones with different drawing prompts, as I thought I might flip to some random pages and draw what's on there. Let's get into it! I've still got this from my photography days as a prop. Don't know where we got it from. It says San Quentin Death Row. Some junk shop had it and I picked it up. It weighs an absolute ton. It is so heavy. And it has a key, which comes out, so I guess that's what I'm going to draw. I place them to the side and I'm drawing what I can see, which is slightly different to what we are seeing on the camera because I am sitting at a higher angle and more to the left, so I'm looking a little bit further down straight onto the lock rather than to the side, which is what we're seeing on the camera, so my angles are going to be a little different. I'm using a coal erase pencil here in black to draw the whole thing out. And I actually managed to draw this quite successfully without too much difficulty or rubbing out of things. A couple of little errors there, but otherwise it was all good. And I'm going in with some Caran d'Ache Luminance coloured pencils. This is the first time I've used coloured pencils since I injured my hand, so I was taking it a little easy here, and I also didn't spend a lot of time fully rendering this. It is a lot more sketchy. I could have done heaps more layers on it, but I just have to take care of my hand, and also the time constraints that I had for this are a bit tighter because I also had to factor in our travel as well. So the whole piece isn't quite as complete as I would like it to be. I may well end up going back on this one and another drawing that I did a bit later to finish them just in my own time, but I think I did okay with this one. I was just mixing in a few different shades of browns and bronzes just to get that general colouring of the lock. I think mine's a little bit browner than what is actually shown in real life. It doesn't matter too much. I'm more just using the lock and key to get their shapes. It doesn't have to be exactly the same. I also think I spent a bit too long on this one. What I was really trying to go for with these drawings was something a little more simple and quick, so I'm not getting bogged down in all the rendering details, just getting the sketch out so it looks like the lock and key, but it's not exactly rendered to a hyper-realistic level. I do think sometimes I get a bit too literal with things as well, and something I'd like to work on with my personal art development is being able to create things that are a little more surreal or just not exactly what we're always seeing in real life. But at the same time, I was also practicing my drawing. It's kind of a trade-off because I want to be really good at drawing things, but I also want things to not look exactly the same as they do in real life. It's a never-ending battle of wanting to draw realistically, but also not wanting to be realistic and do something a lot more imaginative. Anyway, I think this one actually turned out quite well. Even though it's a little bit sketchy, I do like it, and I think I got the colours quite well on this, along with those all-important values of light and shadow. It's also nice to use this lock for something. It's been sitting in one of my drawers for years, and it never occurred to me to draw it until now. Onwards to the second piece. I will show all the pictures at the end. I could have drawn myself in Italy enjoying pizza, but you know I had to draw the koala, and I'm using a Blackwing pencil here. They're some of my favourite pencils ever, and I just really like drawing with them whenever I can. Okay, so of all the pictures I did today, this one's just the biggest mess of all of them. Koalas are so difficult to draw. It's like, it doesn't matter how many times I draw them, I just struggle with them so much. I don't know what it is about them. It's just, they have these really funny shaped faces, and those big noses that they have are quite difficult to get exactly right. Anyway, I drew this dude sitting in a tree. It's from a photograph I took a few years ago of a koala that we saw in the wild, so I just thought he would be perfect for my drawing today. Could well be a female, I don't know. It's hard to tell the difference between them. I did consider not actually including this one in the video because I'm not at all happy with it. I was trying to draw more quickly, and so I rushed it. Because of this, the rendering and shading just really suffer, and I don't like it because it feels so unfinished. This is the trade-off you have between spending a lot of time rendering something so that it looks amazing and fully completed, and then doing something which is a lot quicker, a lot sketchier, but it just doesn't feel like it's finished. and I just feel a bit underwhelmed with this one, so it's not my favourite. In fact, it's my least favourite, but on my channel I do like to include my failures as well as all of the other artworks I do that are more successful, and that's because I'm a real person, I make mistakes just like anyone else, and I most certainly have days where I just cannot draw. This was one of them. I struggled so much with this. It kind of looks like a koala, but it's not the best thing in the world that I've ever done. Never mind. Tomorrow is always another day, and at least I've filled a page in here, even if it's not very good. Time to pick another random one. Draw a snake with a dress. That is the first thing that popped out to me, so I'm afraid I'm not doing this favourite sea animal. This was a total disaster as well to begin with. I drew it in with a pen, so I made mistakes straight up and could not rub it out, but that's okay because I fixed it all up in a moment in the form of a piece of scrapbook paper that I had spare. I drew a little dress out on it and I'm just going to cut it out. It looks so silly. This one was a bit too small, so I actually redid it and made it a bit bigger because I had an idea of how I wanted it to look. It looks so silly. I just cut out the most basic shape. I wasn't really thinking about this. Once again, I wanted to make something that was quite quick, and I thought I would go for something a little more cartoonish and twee with this cute little frock for my snake. I actually had a lot of fun with it. I stuck it down with some double-sided tape, and then I drew a tail on the snake so it makes more sense, and some zigzaggy lines just to make a pattern for it. It is so basic and cartoonish, but it was a lot of fun. I felt like it needed something else, so I chopped out a little hat in that first piece of paper that I made a mistake on. It looks so ridiculous, but I do like the colours on it, and this was such a fun piece to make. It doesn't have to be perfect. I ended up colouring the snake with a couple of coloured pencils as well, just to add a bit more life to it, and that's pretty much this page. Last one. Let's see what I get this time. I saw draw a forest, but then next to it is draw a tree, and I immediately had an idea for that. I used the double-sided tape as a circle template, made an absolute mess of it, tried to fix it up, made it even worse, but eventually I decided to get a bigger pen and just colour the whole thing so it's a thick circle. It's so wobbly. This is a water-based marker pen. Alcohol-based inks are just going to soak through this paper like crazy. My idea was to draw the tree of life, so I looked it up on Google and found a cool pendant, so I just copied from that pretty much, and I'm using that fat pen just to draw the rest of it in because it was so much quicker and easier. I actually really like how this one turned out. I didn't think it was going to work at all to begin with, but it's one of my favourites of the 4 that I did. It's a nice, simple design, and I think it looks quite effective. It looked a bit boring though, just with the black, so I went around a whole bunch of it with the gold pen, and I drew some lines on the inside of the circle just to make it a more interesting design. So overall, I quite like this draw book. The prompts in it seem to be quite fun, and it's a great way to dig yourself out of a creative slump if you just can't think of anything. You just randomly flip to a page or go through and pick something that looks appealing and then draw something. So it's a good bit of fun. I know there are all sorts of prompt books out there, and I would definitely consider getting other ones, but I think I might just stick with this one for now, and I'll probably draw some of these in my own time. The paper's okay, but it is fairly flimsy, and I don't think it's going to hold up to anything with water on it. I would consider painting watercolour ground into it, and maybe even gesso. I think acrylic paints would work quite nicely, so you could use paint pens. Alcohol markers are going to bleed through to the other side, and because the prompts are on either side of the page, it's probably not the best idea, but I mean, just use whatever you want. It doesn't really matter. The paper's smooth, so it's probably not going to grip things like pastels, but it's always worth a try. And here's me going in with those gold stripes. I think this just finished it off quite nicely, and I am happy with how this came out. It makes up for the messy koala one. I think that's all I have time for, so I got 4 things done in here. The first one is the lock, snake with a dress, koala, a very sketchy one there, which I could probably spend some more time on, and lucky last, a tree of life. So this was quite fun. I had a good time just thinking of something straight away when looking at the prompt, and some of them worked better than others. Let me know what you think of the book. Should I do more in this? Tell me in the comments below if you'd like to see more drawings in this book, because I can always do another video with some more in here. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and click the subscribe button. Let me know what you would have drawn if you had different ideas to what I came up with, and I will see you all again really soon in my next video. Take care out there. Watch you later. Bye!